Tonight, we're not just watching history unfold, we're watching it crash through the front door. That's how Lawrence O'Donnell opened tonight's explosive broadcast stand. He wasn't exaggerating. On the evening of June 30th, 2025, Americans sat down expecting another routine political wrap-up. Instead, they were hit with a live-breaking revelation that shook the foundation of Capitol Hill. A leaked audio tape directly linking a former, high-ranking White House official to a legal campaign. Coordination with foreign operatives during the 2024 election. Asterisk, this wasn't just gossip. This was a national security bombshell, backed by digital evidence, anonymous whistleblower statements, and confirmation from top-level intelligence officials. The tape revealed discussions about election strategies, money movements, and even disinformation campaigns, all allegedly tied to foreign-backed entities operating under the radar. Asterisk-o. Donald's expression was unreadable for most of the broadcast, but the tone was clear. This wasn't just political theater. This was potentially criminal. Asterisk, you are about to hear audio never meant for public ears, he warned. It will change how you see the last election. Asterisk, in the 90-second clip aired live on MSNBC. Voice allegedly belonging to a top Trump campaign advisor discussed the assets in the Gulf, leverage over key Senate races, and keeping the operation silent until the second quarter. Names were mentioned. So were cash amounts. Asterisk instantly. Twitter exploded. Hashtag leaked election plot and hashtag treason tape began trending worldwide. Within minutes, top Democrats were calling for emergency hearings. Even some Republicans caught off guard were calling the tape disturbing and worth serious investigation. If this is authentic, said Representative Jim Carlin, RTX, then someone's going to jail. Maybe more than one someone?
Asterisk.
His team revealed that the source of the leak was a whistleblower who had worked closely with federal contractors hired for digital security in 2024. The whistleblower is currently under federal protection, claims this is just the tip of the iceberg. Asterisk, as the clock ticked past 9 p.m., the newsroom didn't quiet down. It got louder. Phones rang, emails flew, and major networks scrambled to verify details. Asterisk, America had just entered a new political firestorm, and the last word had lit the match. The nation barely had time to react before a second shockwave hit. Asterisk, just 15 minutes after the tape aired, Lawrence O'Donnell dropped the next bombshell. An anonymous whistleblower had stepped forward, just to confirm the recording, but to expose the entire network behind it. Asterisk, according to MSNBC's exclusive report, this wasn't a one-off conversation. It was part of a months-long campaign involving encrypted messaging apps, private plane meetings, and offshore wire transfers. The operation allegedly funneled tens of millions of dollars from undisclosed foreign sources into super PACs and dark money organizations designed to bypass federal election law. Asterisk, they wanted to shape the narrative from the shadows. The whistleblower wrote in a sworn statement obtained by MSNBC, and they didn't care how illegal it was, as long as it kept them in power. Asterisk, but here's where it gets even more serious. The source claimed that several well-known media figures, lobbyists, and even retired intelligence officials were either aware of or complicit in the operation. Names were redacted from the public report, but a redacted version of a payment ledger showed code names like Foxtrot, Diplomat, and Judge 88. Asterisk, who were these people? What roles did they play? How far up the political food chain does this go? Asterisk, O'Donnell made it clear. MSNBC's legal team was reviewing everything before publishing more names, but the internal mood was electric. Several congressional staffers reportedly began deleting social media posts and messages as panic rippled across Washington. Asterisk, and then, almost poetically, O'Donnell paused, looked straight into the camera, and said, by 10:15 p.m., the White House issued a statement. No comment at this time. It wasn't enough. Senate Minority Leader Elise Mathis, DCA, called for an emergency bipartisan investigation into foreign influence in the 2024 election. She demanded subpoenas, called for immediate testimony, and even hinted that Section 3 of the 14th Amendment disqualifying individuals from office if they've engaged in insurrection or rebellion. might apply depending on what else was revealed. Asterisk, meanwhile, Republicans were deeply divided. Asterisk, some dismissed the leak as media manipulation, 2025's version of Russiagate 2.0. Others, more cautiously, called for independent verification. But not everyone played it safe. Senator Mark Holloway, a centrist known for occasionally breaking party lines, gave a live interview to Rachel Maddow later that night. Asterisk, if this is reland, I believe it is, then we need to investigate, prosecute, and clean house. No one should be above the Constitution, period. Asterisk, and that wasn't all. A leaked memo from inside the DOJ, obtained by MSNBC's legal correspondent, indicated that federal agents had already opened a criminal probe under the Foreign Agents Registration Act FARA and possible RICO racketeer influenced and corrupt organizations violations. Asterisk translation. This wasn't just political drama. This could turn into massive legal action, including arrests, indictments, and possibly even disqualifications for public office. Asterisk, as O'Donnell wrapped the segment, said something that stuck. Asterisk, just 15 minutes after the tape aired, Lawrence. O'Donnell dropped the next bombshell. An anonymous whistleblower had stepped forward then. Almost poetically, O'Donnell paused, looked straight into the camera, and by 11 p.m., TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter, now X, were in chaos. Asterisk, dozens of amateur sleuths began analyzing the audio, using voice recognition tools to compare it with public recordings. The top trending YouTube videos were side-by-side voice comparisons, financial flowcharts, and dark money decoder explainers. People wanted answers and fast. Asterisk, one YouTuber even broke down the phrase assets in the Gulf and traced it back to a real-world shell company based in the Cayman Islands that was tied to PACs supporting multiple conservative candidates. Within hours, that clip had nearly 1.2 million views. Asterisk, meanwhile, Reddit exploded with theories. Asterisk, Judge88 is a former Fox News contributor. Asterisk. Foxtrot is linked to a lobbying group operating out of Miami. Asterisk, diplomat used to be an ambassador and now runs a think tank. Asterisk, and here's the wild part. Several of these online theories matched redacted documents MSNBC flashed on screen almost too closely to be coincidence. Asterisk. Online researchers also began digging into FEC filings, tracing donations with matching timestamps to international wire transactions, flagged by banking regulators earlier this year. Asterisk, the public wasn't just watching this scandal unfold. Asterisk. They were investigating it in real time. Asterisk, and they were demanding justice. A trending thread asked, why isn't the FBI making arrests right now? Others simply read, this makes Watergate look like a middle school prank. Asterisk, O'Donnell's final hour brought in cybersecurity experts, former federal prosecutors, and even a constitutional law scholar. They all agreed. If the evidence holds up, this could mark the largest coordinated political crime in modern American history. It wasn't enough. Senate Minority Leader Elise Mathis, DCA, called for an emergency bipartisan investigation into foreign influence in the 2024 election. She demanded subpoenas, called for immediate testimony, and even hinted that Section 3 of the 14th Amendment disqualifying individuals from office if they've engaged in insurrection or rebellion might apply depending on what else was revealed. Asterisk, meanwhile, Republicans were deeply divided. Asterisk, some dismissed the leak as media manipulation and 2025's version of Russiagate 2.0. Others, more cautiously, called for independent verification, but not everyone played it safe. Senator Mark Holloway, a centrist known for occasionally breaking party lines, gave a live interview to Rachel Maddow later that night. Asterisk, if this is reland, I believe it is, then we need to investigate, prosecute, and clean house. No one should be above the Constitution, period. And that wasn't all. A leaked memo from inside the DOJ, obtained by MSNBC's legal correspondent, indicated that federal agents had already opened a criminal probe under the Foreign Agents Registration Act FARA and possible RICO racketeer influenced and corrupt organizations violations. Asterisk translation. This wasn't just political drama. This could turn into massive legal action, including arrests, indictments, and possibly even disqualifications for public office. Asterisk, as O'Donnell wrapped the segment, said something that stuck. Asterisk, just 15 minutes after the tape aired, Lawrence. O'Donnell dropped the next bombshell. An anonymous whistleblower had stepped forward then. Almost poetically, O'Donnell paused, looked straight into the camera. It's hard to understate the moment. Asterisk, America had been here before. The Mueller probe. The Ukraine scandal. January 6th. But this felt different. Why? Asterisk. Because this time, the evidence was immediate, tangible, and undeniably digital. A recording. A leak. Documents. A witness. And an audience that wasn't waiting for CNN to tell them what to think. They were connecting the dots faster than ever. Asterisk, by the time the last word signed off, Lawrence O'Donnell left viewers with one final message. Asterisk, greater than you have a right to feel betrayed. But more importantly, you have a right to demand the truth. And tonight, we brought you a piece of it. The broadcast ended with a montage of headlines: leaked audio sparks DOJ probe, Congress demands subpoenas, anonymous source, says more tapes coming, asterisk, and yes, there are rumors of more recordings, possibly involving elected officials still in office, asterisk, the stakes, nothing less than democracy itself, asterisk, as the clock hit midnight. One thing was clear, this wasn't the end of the story. It was just the beginning. Asterisk and every American, from the newsroom to the living room, now had a front row seat to history, whether they liked it or not.